Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage, welcome back to the race truck. So I know it's been all race truck for quite a while. We have the second gen that I really do want to get to out there behind the Ford. I do want to get to some second gen stuff eventually, but I've been having fun with the race truck, so I've been totally that's all that's been on my mind. So that's kind of how things are going to go for a while. We have to get ready for Virginia Motorsports Park, the next ODSS race, the Holly Rock race. So we were at MIR, Maryland International Raceway, and the truck performed great. So super happy with it, but we have to still do some maintenance things, obviously, like adjust our second gear band, run valve lash, all that. I'm not going to bore you guys with that. We've been through it a bunch of times. But since we still have like a week and a half until the race, figure we can still try and cut some more weight out of the truck. So that's where this bar of chromoly comes in. So I had a leftover bar of chromoly, inch and 5/8 083 wall. So we're going to apply that to the chassis of the truck. So this actually is coinciding with something else we're doing when we are at Maryland International at about half track. I'm going to say around the 8th mile. This bedside started flapping. So these two quick latches would come undone and the bedside would be kind of doing this flapping thing over here. Wasn't an issue, but I could see it potentially being an issue later down the road. Also, I've had issues when driving two races with the truck, like going out to UCC. For whatever reason, it took about 7 or 8 hours for it to happen, but the last hour or two of the drive, the bedside started flapping. It was actually both of them. So I have changed out a few of these quick latches. Originally, when we put the truck together, I did kind of cheapen out. Get like the Amazon ones are like 2 for $10. Well, they're junk. So you gotta get the like $20 a pop ones that are American made. But that's what we have in the back here, and they're just not holding up. So they're really meant for like a hood type situation, and for what we're doing, it's just not working out for us. So they're kind of, I think what's happening is on those drives, the bedside's kind of wiggling and all that. Yeah, so anyway, the bedside's kind of wiggling in the wind and all. I think it's really just beating them up. So we're going to have to change those out. We're going to go to a more traditional Zeus fitting, but the parts haven't arrived yet. So we're going to make when I did this, I wanted the bedsides to come off very easily just so we could pull them off, do whatever we needed to do. But I find myself not pulling them off as often as I would have thought. I really thought it was just going to be pulled off and then we get some, but honestly, most of the time I just climb up in the back of the truck. So the Zeus fittings are really not that much more work. We'll get into that when we do them. But being that I'm going to at least switch the bottom ones over to Zeus fittings, probably eventually the tops, we'll see how it all goes. But since we're going to do that, we're also going to cut weight by cutting off this rear section of frame. So we're actually going to tube that with this chromoly tubing. It's something that I'd kind of been thinking about for a while, but now I'm just in this mindset of let's save all the weight possible. So we're going to actually just cut it right back here behind our coilovers. Not going to mess with any of that because our sled pulling setup bolts right in front of that. So right behind that, we're going to lop that off. And basically, all that piece of frame does is it holds our nitrous bottle, which we are going to move to in the cab of the truck. And it also supports our bedsides, our parachute, and our parachute tie-off. So the most critical thing here is obviously our parachute tie-off. So what we're gonna do, and I haven't completely figured it out yet, is I wanna mount the parachute in here and have it extend out, and then have the parachute actually tie off to here. So basically it will launch from the rear of the truck and the tie-off will be down there to, slow the truck down. At least that's my thoughts. Worst comes to worst, we'll put another piece of chromoly across here, just kind of how we have it. But if it's sturdy, where it's going to hold the bedsides with just this short stub of tube coming out, that's how I would like to leave it, because even though the chromoly is like 1.2 pounds per foot, That's 3 feet we wouldn't need in the truck. So we're getting more into our extreme weight savings, and if our Zeus fasteners don't show up before VMP, it's not a big deal. We can always make this setup work and weld it to the tube and just keep using our quick latches and hope they continue to, hopefully they won't be a problem. But I just see with the problems I've had with them that it's probably just going to keep getting worse as they get beat up more and more. It's no fault of theirs. I think this is just kind of the wrong application for them because, you know, you get the wind catching in here and it's flexing this all around. It's not like when you have them on a hood where once you take off, it's pushing down on it and that's it. So yeah, that's the game plan. We're gonna cut the rear of the truck off and hopefully lose some weight. I think I calculated out these two pieces should be like 17 pounds, I think. So that's the plan. We're gonna get to hacking the truck up once again. So we officially have a short frame. So cut the rest of that back frame off. Like I said, it was only holding the bed sides and then doing parachute stuff, which I'll figure out a way to do, or we'll just connect the 2 bars. But yeah, this right here, yeah, it's not super heavy by any means, but I weighed it preliminary. This whole structure here is about 27 pounds. So I also notched the frame, kind of cut it at an angle, so you can see the bolt hole for our sled pulling setup that goes on right here. So this was all kind of, you know, weight we didn't need. So what I'll do is I'll actually cap that off and box this whole thing in. Left about 2 inches here, so our 1 5/8 tube will come straight out and we'll be able to mount all our stuff. So just cutting a little more weight that we don't need off, and it kind of worked out good. It comes right to the end of this weld where this thing slipped in, because I believe this is just slipped into the frame here, thus the welds and all that. So also looking at the axle, I might cut these 2 mounting points off for the brake assembly, because with our TBMs and our Innovative Machining Solutions hubs, we're only utilizing these back 2 bolt holes. So we can cut off like from here and then down to here, cut that off, make it all nice and nice. Would be easier without the brake rotor there. Don't know if I feel like going through the hassle of pulling the hubs and all that, but we'll see. See how big a pain it is. Not like it's really a super big deal to do any of that. So we'll get to boxing the frame in and extending it out and then kind of work from there. But 27 pounds, we're going to replace it with 5 pounds of chromoly, maybe 10, even if it's 10 pounds. That's 17 pounds of savings. So just cutting more weight off the truck. So yeah, let's get to more welding, cutting, and grinding. The race truck is back settled on the slicks, and our rear frame deal is looking good. So originally I had taken this part of the frame where our tube was going to go, and I squared it off, and then I angled it down. After I got done talking to you guys, I got looking at it, and I decided that, you know, it looked much cleaner just with the straight angle back. So our sled pulling setup goes over here. You know, we still got a bolt hole, but just made this nice clean angle up and then cut an angle on our tube. Our tube is in, welded on both sides, looking good. Good and firm. I feel confident we can just mount our bed sides to that. The only thing is figuring out our parachute mount, which my kind of game plan right now is to have the tie-off point for the parachute, you know, when it launches and it's pulling against the truck, to be right here, and then have a piece of aluminum like kind of come up and over and back to, you know, put the parachute at the back of the truck. But very happy with how it all turned out. Yeah, nice and solid. Good deal there. Once again, this is only going to support the bedside, so it really doesn't have to be anything too wild. We don't need a cross member here unless I can't figure out the parachute now. So how much weight did we cut off the truck? So here's our frame, piece of chromoly, all our miscellaneous junk. So if we turn on Mr. Scale, we put this whole deal up there, 32.4 pounds. So this whole deal is 32 pounds. So we did add material back to the truck, so it's not like we cut 32 pounds off of it. If I grab Mr. Phone, so I already had the math done. So looking at Mr. Phone, the amount of chromoly we put back in, which is about 56 inches, I actually went a couple inches longer than our frame was, just to support, you know, when we build our sled pulling stops, we can make something that goes over this or fits inside to, you know, fit on there to stop the sled inevitably hitting the fiberglass if the truck were to shut off again. But that was 6.379 pounds, or 6.38 pounds of chromoly. And we had 32.2, I think is what I measured, something like that. So we cut almost 26 pounds off the truck. So that's awesome. Another 26 pounds off the truck-ish. And I had swept up, and I bet you I had about a pound worth of grindings off the truck. That's another thing. I did grind off our other mounts for the brake assembly. Now that we have our TBM set up, we don't need these 4-2 mounts, so I ground those off of the rear axle, so that's some more weight too. Those pieces are all in there. So another 25 pounds off the truck, which is awesome. So we cut 10 pounds off last week with the bump stops, 25 today, so that's 35 pounds off the 270 we were heavy. So we're really cutting that weight down. So now we're down to like 235 pounds over. So that's awesome. You know, every ounce we cut off this truck, it should be a little bit faster, which is great. And also being lighter, that's less parts we're hopefully going to break, just less stress on everything. So cutting this all off, definitely worth the effort. You know, we pulled the front axle last week to cut that 10 pounds off the truck. Now we got 25 more pounds off the truck, which is awesome. We will figure out the bed mount deal when my Zeus fittings get here, and we'll go into all that at that point. And even if they don't arrive in time to go to Virginia Motorsports Park, we can figure out how to get our old setup to work on here. Not really a big deal, but yeah, this little bit of frame we cut off, you know, that really was just supporting the bed sides, and honestly it was also holding our parachute. That little bit of frame was a lot of weight for what we're kind of doing. So where we're at with this, you know, 25 pounds is a big deal because we're trying to incrementally get to that 4,400 number. So now we're, let's see, we were at like 44 or 4660. So now we're at like 4625. So we're almost down to 4,500 pounds with me in the truck. which is awesome. So we just got to keep, hacking away at it, find those little things that we can cut off the truck and replace with like tube and stuff like that, and then we can get there. Honestly, the goal, and it's a stretch, it's a big stretch, I know, is to get to a 4,400 pound number with me in the truck without changing out this huge AAM rear, which that thing's like 500 pounds, or back halving the truck. I would love to keep the frame how it is. We know our sled pulling setup works. We know the whole truck will handle it. I just really would not, I really would like to not mess with it. But if it comes down to it, we will. But we have cut another 35 pounds out of the truck in 2 weeks. 35 pounds that really wasn't doing anything. So I think that there is a possibility we can do it. It might be, it might take some creative thinking to do it. And it's probably going to be a lot of work. But hey, if we can do it and keep the stock axles and knock back half the truck, I think that's going to really impress a lot of people because, yeah, I don't know that that's been done before. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. It's school night. I got to get to bed. So I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe down below. Catch you guys in the next one. Get out in your garage. Get the wrench on your truck.